Hey, this is Matt once again. What about channel videos? This is another paid request, this time for Gia. And for those interested in requesting any type of videos, topics, reactions, commentaries, re-reviews, it could be a topic, it could be a versus, whatever. Feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal, which is usually the best bet, or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. Now, Robocop versus Terminator Genisys. How do you compare two films that eat a bunch of hemorrhoids? How do you compare two films that are both embarrassing failures to their respective franchises? Where one film has Arnold in a police lineup smiling while Bad Boys What You Gonna Do is playing in the background, while the other has Robocop doing a montage training and they use a song that has yodeling. Focus by Hocus Pocus or Hocus Pocus by Focus, whatever the hell it is. You have one film that starts with Sam Jackson doing the motorboat, ready for his wannabe Bill O'Reilly Fox News segment. You have another where they decide, let's just delete the whole timeline and have this alternate, you're part of a deleted timeline. They both are terrible representations of what a reboot in Robocop or what a sequel in Sega Genesis should ever be. I mean, Robocop 2014, neutered for PG-13, has none of the gore, none of the violence, none of the satiric edge, none of the memorable villains. Michael Jackson, that'd be different. Michael Keaton or Sam Jackson, just wasted in crappy roles, while Terminator Sega Genisys is such a boneheaded idea for how to continue the franchise. Not as boneheaded as Dark Fate, but still pretty boneheaded. And they both suck. They both suck eggs, they both suck AIDS, and they both suck balls. But they use teeth, so they suck at that too. If you don't suck balls, don't use teeth. Just, a note for all the people out there. I mean, I would say Terminator Genisys is worse because of how it's trying to relate to the original films. At least the Robocop remake is its own dumb thing in its own dumb universe. Genisys, though, said, you know what? The whole thing with John Connor, it didn't really matter because he could be taken over, he could be completely controlled and turned to another Terminator, and then at the end of the day, he gets killed off, and hey, it's fine and dandy still, and Skynet's now another thing called Genisys. I mean, not as insulting as in Dark Fate, where they make them completely useless, but it's going on that step in that direction, and that weird journey it took. And also said, let's get a bunch of actors who did a terrible job, like Emilia Clarke, who looks like she's 3'5", playing a mini midget Sarah Connor. Let's get Jai Courtney, who is none of the badass presence of Michael Biehn. And let's redo the first film, but at the same time, it's not redoing the first film. At the same time, it's pretty much deleting the first film from the timeline and saying, well, no, that didn't really happen. And no, you're part of deleted timeline. No, that's not really how it is. And just stuff that just seemed like middle fingers unintentionally to fans, especially of the first movie. Where, that classic T-800 badass that Arnold played in the first Terminator, that was, like, to me, the best Terminator film. Classic horror, scary type of villain. Well, no, let's mask some CGI on it. Let's have an older Arnold beat it up, and then Sarah Connor, played by the midget, shoots it in one go with one bullet, boom, taken down that easily. The figure that was no pain, no remorse, no fear will not stop ever until you are dead. that whole mystique, that whole built up, pretty much just put into the river with cement shoes and saying, nope, with somehow the weapons in that time. Remember Michael Biehn saying, can I stop it with the weapons of this time? I don't know. Apparently, yes, because they found the weapons and went, toot. Done like dinner. Only for it to come back with the help of the T-1000 and still get defeated easily. Still get defeated pretty damn easily. So it's twice now that it turned the T-800 for the first film into a joke. And somehow it's a love letter to the fans. And that makes it more infuriating than the Robocop reboot, as much as that's a piece of crap. I mean, you could say the same thing about Robocop, but at the same time, it's not affecting the story of the first film, because it's its own thing. Here, it literally said Terminator 1 and 2 are deleted. They don't exist anymore. And I'm like, you just delete... Like, when people look at a story, believe it or not, they actually care about a story. Just because a story is simple, or just because a story is mainstreamed, or just because a story is not complicated, does not mean people think it's a bad story or it's a story they dislike. In fact, some of the best stories are the simplest stories. Believe it or not. Believe it or not, I'm walking on air. What could it be? Is your sheet? Double sheet. And yeah, Robocop 2014 has acting I don't care about. I don't care about Joe Tinadita what Tinnaman. I think he was very bland. He had no charisma. I think the way Alex Murphy's written in the remake is very bland. He's not really given much of a story. I mean, they take away... And I get it that they don't want to repeat and do a carbon copy, but at the same time, then that kind of shows that there is no story to tell interesting enough in a reboot, because you just make it more of a bland story where... And then it's like they're trying to play up with the fact that he's become less human, but that kind of just pushed to the wayside or not as utilized as it could and should have been. And the villains are just, oh yeah, these guys screwed up Alex Murphy. Oh, now they're dead, and we got like 30-some minutes left in the movie. Wow, okay, well, those villains are really in one ear, out the other. They were barely important to be a blemish for the movie. And instead, it's Michael Keaton. I'm like, okay, then. I mean, granted, at least it has more steady group of actors like Gary Oldman, like Michael Keaton, even, what's his name? He played Rorschach in Watchmen. Can't believe I forgot his name. He's in the film. Granted, they're not doing much to do. In Genisys, I mean, you got J.T. Simmons, but Arnold... You know what would make the Robocop 2014 more insulting? If for some dumb reason they said, let's get Peter Weller back, but we do the same movie. And it'd be like, this is just stupid and lame. Here Arnold comes back, and it's a joke. It's a joke, and that's more just dumbfounding to me. You know, he's called Pops. Hey, Pops. What's going on, Pops? Yeah, I'm going to pop your tops, all 6 of them. And then, again, he's trying to smile. Because it goes, as much as I like Terminator 2, but Terminator 2 started all this with more humor. Where, hey, Arnold, lift up your leg. Put up your hand. I promise not to kill anyone. I promise I won't kill anyone. That type of humor started in Terminator 2, and they saw that people really liked it, and they kept doing that with Talk to the Hand in Part 3, and Terminator 2 helped start that. That's one of the reasons why I do like Terminator 2, I like the first one more. I like other action films more. T2 is not in my top 50 favorite action films. I like Terminator 2. I really don't find much wrong with it. But that, and because everyone kept hounding on it, there's other action films I do prefer and enjoy more. Now, Terminator 2 is the last solid movie. And of the ones after that, I could deal with Salvation, despite its flaws. I could watch Salvation. But 3 is disappointing. Genisys is irritating. And Dark Fate, I would say, is the worst. With the Mexican Terminator and blowing Edward Furlong away in the face with a shotgun at the beginning. Here you got Arnold going, "It is nice to meet you," smiling. You got Jai Courtney showing no amount of charisma being Kyle Reese. No chemistry between him and Emilia Clarke. Emilia Clarke was an awful Sarah Connor. And the way she came off was just unlikable and bitchy, and did no chemistry with his co-stars. Lackluster spectacle, bland cast. Some people say the movie's confusing. I just see what they mean in the fact that that was meant to be the start of a trilogy, so they set stuff up and they never follow through. As in, this mysterious figure that sent Arnold back to 1970-some, whatever, to save Sarah Connor when she was a kid. Because apparently Terminators were sent back to kill her as a kid and killed her parents, and Pops had to take care of her. Hence why the Sarah Connor we see here is different from the Sarah Connor in the first movie. But we never figure out who that was, who that figure was. We never find that out. And they set up for a sequel because Genisys is still alive, but the film was so hated and was a damn flop. I know Jimmy Tammy, he saw the film and said, "Yeah, this felt like the worthy sequel." Then a few years later, he said, "Yeah, I just said that because Arnold is my friend, and I wanted to do it for my friend." So again, James Cameron shows how much little of integrity he has. Willing to lie about a movie for a friend. I'm like, dude, your friend Arnold should be able to take care of himself at this point in time. To need your lying input. Like, come on now. Give me a break. Take a dump on the original Terminator. You kill him in a blink of an eye. Arnold diving down like a torpedo, just like this whole damn franchise got torpedoed. And don't get me wrong, there's some bad things in 2014 Robocop. A lot of bad things. I mentioned it, from Sam Jackson doing the motor rubber boat with his mouth, and having not anything in terms of satire. Or both films are an oversaturation of CGI. Oversaturation of CGI that, I'm sorry, are just not as special, not as elegant, not as memorable compared to stuff done back in the day. They feature action scenes that are not that remarkable or memorable. Hell, even Terminator 3, I will give you the car chase where the TX is controlling all these vehicles. And Jonathan Mostow, the director, did incorporate some pretty good practical effect in the stunt scenes and action sequences. That's one thing I would give Terminator 3 over something like this, or Dark Fate. And Robocop 2014 didn't do any better in terms of action. Let's have Ed 209, but let's have a couple 4 or 5 Ed 209s that all look bad in CGI. And hey, these action scenes are quote better because he's able to jump in CGI on top of the thing in CGI and shoot in CGI and go down like it looked like a video game cutscene. It looked like a Robocop video game than a movie, which is ironic because there is a Robocop video game coming out. Right, it looks on the cheap side, but it is coming out. I don't know when though. or for what platforms. I don't remember. But that scene alone with the bad boys, what you're gonna do? Hell, before that, you had Emilia Clarke and Jackass Jabroni Courtney. I should say Jabroni Courtney in the middle of a damn street, get hit by a car going probably 40 miles per hour, and they're both naked as the day they were born. They both teleport in the middle of the street naked when they were born, and they both get hit by a car, and they barely have a scratch on them. And I don't even remember, was Genisys rated PG-13 or was it R? I swear it was PG-13. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't remember what it was rated. What was the rating of Terminator Genisys? I don't remember. I mean, I got a computer. Let me look up real quick. What the hell was it? PG-13. So yeah, they're both PG-13. So that was neutered too. That was neutered too. That was neutered as well. So, anyway, I don't know what else to say. So, they both neutered, and like I said, they're both neutered PG-13 or glorified CGI embarrassing failures of their franchise. And failures box office wise. Robocop was supposed to be a new franchise with sequels. It didn't. Terminator Genisys was supposed to have a new trilogy. It didn't. Even Darth Fate was supposed to be a new trilogy. It didn't. Stop doing Robocop films. Stop doing Terminator films. The audience is literally telling you we don't want any more. They voted with their wallets and with their voices. So, no Robocop returns. No Terminator, blah, blah, blah. Oh, James Cameron's going to do it. So what? Remember Ridley Scott? He went back to Alien. What you did? Stuff like Alien Covenant. Like, why do people assume just because the director comes back that means anything? And James Cameron's too busy doing 15 Avatar sequels. No more Terminator, no more Robocop. They both are dead in the water. Let it go. As John Rambo would say, let it go. Let it go.